Getting ready for the music and melody. Oh, come on. Where did I have you? Where did I have you? Okay, let's see. It was Matt Politano at Sam First. Hi, everybody watching. You know me. It's always a little bit interesting at the beginning.
Mhm.
Here we go.
1/8 plus 1/8 equals 1/4.
And
1/2 is bigger than 1/3, and
Facebook
1/3 is bigger than
talking to
1/4.
me, and that's it. Oh, this is 3 years ago. Do you mind?
Yeah, let's go ahead.
Okay, cool.
Coffee. Yeah. see that in a long time.
There.
I know. I was just thinking that. Yeah, it's funny
Yeah,
to see stuff. After
yeah,
a long
totally,
time.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it seems like it seemed like a year ago seems so far away, but
Yeah.
that's cool. Thanks for playing that. Yeah, that's nice. Bob B, yeah. Keith Jarrett, man, he's the best.
Yeah. So, um, what was the name of that?
Bob B,
Bob B.
yeah,
Okay.
it's a Keith Jarrett tune. And, I listen to a lot of Keith and know a lot of his songs, and I play a lot of his songs. And he's just such a great inspiration to me. So, but that's a good one. Yeah, I like that's kind of a nice tune, interesting, fun, interesting, but like nice to listen to. All these things I like in music.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, by the way, Taylor Hatch says hi. I
Taylor Hack.
guess, do you know him? He's a guitarist. Yeah.
Okay.
Another North Texas affiliation. And
Yeah, there you go.
yeah, my friend Roland Askerins is here. He's a big fan.
Oh,
Um,
that's nice.
so, and I saw in your bio that you studied with Garry Dial. He and
Yeah,
I went to college together.
yeah. I haven't seen Gary in years, but I went to Manhattan School of Music. He was my teacher.
Yeah.
Yeah. Geez, I haven't spoke to him and kind of lost touch with him a while back, but he taught me a lot. I mean, I was young and
Great pianist.
yeah, I mean, he got me onto some things that I'm still practicing to this day.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, I haven't seen him or um, it's been a while, I have to admit. Yeah.
Might have interviewed him. I can't remember so many because it's been over 600 people, but I think I might have interviewed him in like the pandemic days. I have to go back and look. But yeah, he was always great. In college, he was like one of the best players, and yeah, it was great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he was real like open-minded. I mean, I was into different stuff, maybe coming at it from a different angle, and he always encouraged that instead of kind of. I mean, I love bebop, I love the Oscar Pearson, all that stuff. I practice that stuff, but I did always have kind of like it could be other things, and he said, yeah, go, because he kind of liked this, Paul Bley or Keith Jarrett stuff I listened to.
Yeah, yeah.
It wasn't the same with everybody, but he was great.
Yeah. It's funny how it's not like you have one favorite music, but your heart kind of goes a little more towards like Keith Jarrett and more modern, right?
Yeah, or yeah, I guess like yeah, I like folk songs. My dad's a guitar player. My dad's
Uh-huh.
really the reason I play, and he was in like rock bands and country bands, and my mom sings folk music. So I have a lot of that almost as where I'm grounded. And then I found jazz standards, and my dad loves that stuff. He loves Joe Pass. And I had a junior high band director who actually just recently passed away 2 weeks ago, Mr. Ed Wolf in San Dimas, Lone Hill Middle School. And he's pretty much the reason I'm playing jazz because he got me playing the blues when I was like, sixth grade or fifth grade. He made us all solo, and I was into it. I loved the way the blues felt, and he made everyone solo in the band, regardless if you can or not. He just wanted you to do it. And so he got me into like jazz and blues mostly. I got into blues first, and then kind of bebop through that. But I heard like folk music, rock music, Paul Simon, Peter, Paul and Mary, things like that when I was a kid. So when I'm like choosing maybe standards, and I think that's why I kind of like Keith because they're coming from that era, 60s, 70s, or maybe more thirds, kind of, but still interesting, and I played trumpet a long time, so I like the voice, like hearing a voice with the melody. So I hear that all in his playing and a lot of other people's, but it's hard for me to get away from him. I think Gary did tell me to stop listening to him for a minute because I was like, I'm like, this is it. This is what I wanted. There's other people out there. You should try him out. So, but well, to this day, I'm still obsessed. But I was working on some stuff.
You know who's just, I mean, not exactly the same, but um, Bill Frisell.
Oh
You
yeah,
know, I mean, he has that whole kind of country.
yeah. He's another guy.
Yeah.
All that aesthetic. I love that. I love sweet melodies. I love ballads. I love blueses. I don't know, like there's something maybe Americana, I guess would be a genre, but like something relatable to my past and my dad. And he practices to this day. If I go see him, he's tired and he'll be practicing. He doesn't play any gigs or anything. He just practices. You
That's
good?
cool. But I think, yeah, I mean, I always crack up over guitar players. It's like they go to Guitar Land, more than anybody. I mean, pianists are in their instrument, but guitar, there's something about that universe. If you're a guitar player, and if you're talking to them while they're playing or practicing, half of them is in Guitar Land.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I'm pretty aware. Yeah. Every time I go over there, he's playing, and I go play with him, and it's fun. Yeah. So, um,
That's great. A lot of that stuff that you mentioned, I grew up on too.
I'm sure.
Folk and rock but I was also my dad and mom were into jazz,
Hmm.
but straight ahead mostly, and so yeah. But I mean, I grew up in the 70s. When I was at Berkeley, I mean, that was a really great time, especially in Boston. There was Motown and coming out of Woodstock, and
Yeah, I love
rock
that
was
stuff.
kind of getting jazzy, and ECM was emerging, Weather
Hmm.
Report was emerging, and Bob Moses.
Hmm.
So, and that was more of the stuff that turned me on, in jazz. I had come out of listening to Straight Ahead, which I loved, of course, but when I heard Weather Report and Bob Moses, that was I was sold,
Hmm.
It was really, really great, right?
Yeah, I, I love both of them. Yeah, I mean, there's so much good music out there. It's just as soon as I think that's it, and then I'll hear something like I'll go down the rabbit hole for like weeks and just try to figure out everything I can about them, or a certain piece. I'm just trying to learn it, really get into it. But it's still fun, so that's good.
I miss the time when I had a 6 CD player in my kitchen, and so I would put on 6 CDs, and I would leave them there for 2 weeks.
Mm.
And but now I have my Spotify or whatever I play, you know, through, you know, through my speaker, and it's not the same because in those 2 weeks, that stuff would, you know, you know, really get in there. And that's like if I want to do that, I really have to rearrange my time schedule
Yeah,
to do something like that.
my wife and I, we used to, put on records more, or like our music always around while we're cooking or whatever, just to have it. I want to hear these melodies all day. That's the best way to learn stuff, I think.
Yeah,
One
yeah.
of the good ways to ingrain it in your mind if you really like it. Um, yeah.
You know, when you and I kind of were more around each other, I guess it was more at the beginning of the Blue Whale or
Well,
some
yeah.
during that period of time,
Yeah.
right? And that was, you know, I mean, I've lived here 50 years, so I've seen LA go through a lot of changes. But
Mm.
that was a particular time that was definitely significant, I think. And there were a lot of people like yourself, um, basically coming up. You were pretty young,
Yeah, I
right?
was really young. Or well, I wasn't really young, but yeah, yeah, I felt like I was coming up, and everyone I played there with, we were all in the same boat, and it's kind of like pre-social media a little, and
Yeah,
we were just playing. We were just in there. I mean, I played there every week, and for a couple 2 years with Kevin Cannon and like Walter Smith and Charles Artura and um, Hamilton Price. He was in town. He was there all the time. Sam and I, all these guys. Yeah, we used to play. Yeah, they were like a crew, and we were trying to chat. Maybe not. We were working on stuff together.
yeah,
Yeah, and everyone's doing their craft. So um, it was nice. It was a nice time. Yeah, I know what you mean though. And June, he set the tone for all the musicians and everything, and you and all. It's like such a nice vibe in there that
yeah,
everyone was. They're always encouraging and
yeah.
You can hang late, maybe too
Yeah,
late.
yeah. There was a lot of support. Yeah, a lot of loving support. It was really nice. Um, yeah, it was a good period. I mean, now is an interesting time. I know you have this morning gig in Pasadena, which I'm sorry, I can never like
Yeah, no,
force
it's too
myself
early.
to get up at 7.
Yeah, it's so
I have
ridiculous.
I have a gig in Santa Monica on Saturdays that starts at 9:30. I have to wake up at 7, but I mean, for me to get up and go hear somebody, it's like,
Yeah, I know that's it's funny because they some people wanted us to start a little later, and then I had a backlash with the regulars because they love the fact that we're done by 10. And actually for the band too, because we all have, we'll go teach or whatever, have
Yeah,
big later. It's nice to be done and then be able to do other things that day.
yeah.
That's kind of the whole point of how I started it.
Does it start at 8?
8:30 ish,
8:30. Yeah.
loosest gig on earth. I mean, pretty much do it out of love for the community, and we've been doing it. I've been doing it a long time. So Mark Ferber and Blake White plays bass, and that's kind of been the trio for the last 5 years. Matt Corey, this bass player, started it. He called me like 10 years ago
Yeah.
and wanted to play, and he's like, I have this morning thing, and I can walk there, and there's a piano there, and I just walked over, and we played duo for like 2 years, and let's see, I don't know, Jake Reed did it for a while, and
Oh, cool.
Kevin Dakota, and Dan Schnell's done it a bunch, Matt Mayhall, all these drummers, and then Matt, the other bass player, moved to Massachusetts and during the pandemic, and then everything came back, and they wanted me to keep going. And then Mark was in town, and
Oh,
Mark wanted to play. And Mark's been doing it if he's in town ever since. And Mark for me is like just I mean, he is
you're talking about Mark who?
well, Mark Ferber, yeah, Mark Ferber,
Oh, yeah, I know. Mark
Mark
Ferber.
Ferber, and Alan, and they're a little older than me, so I always looked up to them and like all those guys. When I was coming up in L.A., I used to go see them. Like and then Mark especially. So to be able to play with him, and now we're like friends, and we hang out a lot, and play like a lot. Yeah, I played with him more than anybody in the last I don't know 5 years. Also with Blake. Blake's a great friend. He plays with me at the coffee shop, and he's doing this gig at the Birds of the Feather on Friday, this Friday,
Yeah.
and we have a nice, for playing every week, and then I'm always trying to bring new material, whether I write some stuff
Yeah.
or key stuff or any kind of interesting, quote, harder music or things. This band can handle it, and I like the openness of discovering. So there's a lot of improv involved, and very kind of that's inspired. It's kind of what I like and what I'm good at. So I just want it to be that and as organic as we can do it. And it's nice to play with someone every week, so you kind of just read each other, which doesn't great players. It could happen, but it's a little different thing where like and I might not even have to be the greatest players. It just has to be some cohesive unit that tells a good story that I like. A lot of those Keith recordings. I mean, he's taken like 20 choruses, and then Gary Peacock or Charlie Hayden like takes one, and then it goes back to Keith, and it's like wow. But that's what they wanted. And then they sometimes collectively improvise together, and there's like moments in there that I like. Anyway, I'm going off, but that's a cool thing about that morning gig. And then I think people like it because of that. Once you get there, it's just hard to get there. I don't even know. Yeah, people tell me why you do it so early. It's like I have no answer. I've always been a morning person. Even to this day, I'm up early. My mind's going, so I might as well play.
Well, yeah, you said a whole bunch of good stuff there. And talking about improvisation, I've been talking about this a lot recently, although it's basically been in my mind forever. But I also do. I've been on a Zoom call for a number of years with that happens every week with Stephen Nachmanovich, who wrote a book called Free Play: Improvisation in Life and the Arts.
Hmm.
So he wrote that at the same time that Kenny Werner wrote his first book.
Uh,
So that was back in 75.
hmm.
Then about 2 years ago. They both came out with their second book. These books, as you know, Kenny Werner's books, I don't know if you're familiar with
Yeah.
Stephen, but these books were like Bibles. We
Yeah.
you open up a page and it's talking to you, and it's telling some deep, deep shit. So anyway, we were one of the aspects of improvisation that I talk about with people. But yeah, so you mentioned improvisation, and excuse me,
That's all right.
I read one review on you that specifically said you were an improvisational pianist, which I thought was interesting. I was like, so does that mean he only improvises? Because to me, that's what that means.
Yeah.
It's like an improvisational musician improvises. That's it. But I don't think I think from what you just said, it's
Yeah.
part of the whole
Yeah. No, I mean,
product.
yeah, that's interesting. I guess we're all, if we're talking, we're improvising. Let's see. Yeah, I love, standards. My whole career has mostly been a side man, like for various bands and touring bands and singers, and I mean, any kind of genre really. My love is jazz, straight ahead. Like, but I love standards. I love American Songbook. I play mostly that. Um, this morning gig is a little different because it's my thing. I can kind of, you know, mess around with the repertoire, and I get to pick the vibe of everything, which is nice.
Yeah.
Um, uh, but we always play a couple standards, and see what last week we played a couple ballads, The Summer Knows, Michelle Legrand, and a couple other ones, and Never Let Me Go. And anyway, I like to find kind of deep cut ballads or tunes. Uh, so it might weave in and out transitionally from song to song, possibly. Maybe that's what they mean, where there's connective tissue, I guess, between the songs. But while we're playing the tune, it's usually the tune and
I mean, Keith is like
yeah,
that.
yeah. So it's like, I love
Yeah.
the Keys Standards Trio. So it's like that might be the closest thing. I mean, I listen to that stuff all the time to this day, and usually when I'm learning a tune, I listen to as many recordings as I can. But his trio version of it will be one I definitely listen to pianistically, and it influences me. Um, but then I try to put my own take on it, because I'm never as going to be as good as him. But I'm
What do
trying.
you what do you what do you actually what's one or two things, if you can put it into words, that you take from him? Like, let's just say he was playing "Blame It on My Youth." What
Yeah,
would you
yeah.
what would you take from him?
Um, I like. Well, first of all, his phrasing is immaculate. His touch is great. The moment, like, he tells a great story, especially with the ballads. He's like, you're just waiting for the next phrase, even when he's playing the melody. I like, to watch someone sing or play that I know they know it and they're resisting the urge to play something, and giving the giving the audience credit for, like, knowing, like, they're with you. I don't need to explain it all the time. Like, here, but like, if it's just simple ballad, I generally, and if I play a ballad, I kind of stick to basics, not the word, but I'll make some revisions. But I'm not over complicating things. I really like the sound of ballads, and there might be a little riff or here that I've created, or a chord structure that I want specifically, but I don't really want to change it too much because I like the songs are just nice in my head, and they're hard enough as they are to be able to play, I don't know, 500 of them or whatever. I mean, I don't know. I probably know a couple hundred, but then I can probably play 500 or 600, like, from, half, or I can figure out the bridge if someone sings it to me or something like that. But if I don't play them for a while, I'll forget them. And but
I think it's funny because tonight I'm over there at Birds of a Feather with Steve Cotter,
yeah,
and
Steve's one of another
yeah,
one of my idols.
Oh yeah, me too. And so we're going to do a woodshed workshop for singers and guitar players for jazz duo regarding standards. You know, play guitar players playing with a singer, singers playing with guitar, which is unique. It's not like playing with piano. And the standards. And but I like what you said, you know, I like both those things, resisting the urge to play because that really kind of forces you into the moment, and
Yeah.
that's an uncomfortable place to be in the
Yeah.
moment sometimes, you
Right.
know. You have to wait
Right.
and see what is flowing to you, and
Hmm.
you know where what like you said, Keith is so,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah. I mean,
delicate with that.
also the room, the night, whatever happens in the room while you're playing it. I'm really
Yeah.
alive, like a real live player. I react to whatever kind of happens, you know, like I don't like to explain anything what we're going to do. It's really what you see is what's going to happen. And for the first time, and that's kind of how I like to record also. I mean, if I'm in the studio, we might do more than one take or whatever, but a lot of stuff I listen to, like the majority of stuff I listen to is live, you know, as far as jazz. And that's what I like about him too. Most of his recordings are just live. Um, Even in the studio, like, it just sounds like this. That's what it sounds like today. And you know, like I mean, you know, that the folk music's like way too. I don't know, like you know, I'll work on some classical piece for hours, but like, you know, maybe when I'm done, I'll listen to some folk song that's not technically correct, or like it's just I believe what they're doing or what the song's about lyrically, or just the haunting melody. And Keith kind of takes that and gives it to me because I want that emotion when I hear music, whether it's loud or a lot of notes or the quietest thing you ever heard, almost too quiet, you know. But you're on the edge of like what's going on, and you're waiting. You know, I like that. So it comes with a good audience. You know, you can't do it with an audience that's talking over you all the time. You know, I've been been in a lot of those rooms where I'm trying to play a sweet ballad. You know, but there's only so much you could do. But I all those gigs I did, you know, those are the gigs that made me who I am. So I'm glad I had like the solo piano gigs in the corner of the I don't know, you know, just a shed or whatever, you know. Um,
I know what you mean. You know, as a composer, you know how it's kind of like it's like a painter. You get into these little periods, a week or a month, or of the blue period or whatever, you know.
mm,
So I used to like not like stop myself if the song wasn't jazzy enough, and then finally I stopped myself so long that I didn't write for a year, and I thought, you know, I'm stopping my creativity. Just so what if I write a stupid country song? Just let it go, throw it away, give it to somebody, whatever. So I wrote a group of what I call folk songs, and I recorded you know, a bunch of them, and it was it was very satisfying. You know, it was very satisfying. It was pure, kind of pure, and um,
yeah,
you
pure.
know, yeah,
You know, the simplicity. I don't know. There's a beauty in simplicity if it's done right. I don't know. It tells a good story. You know, sometimes my mind isn't going 1,000 miles. I want it to slow down a little,
yeah.
especially in this crazy world. You know, I'm like, I need to just live with something for a little bit. And I don't know. It doesn't always have to be. It's just not the way my mind thinks. Once in a while, I like that, you know, and plus, you know, technically, I don't know if I can do all the crazy stuff, but I can. I mean, I'm into a large array. I can get into the modern guys too, and try to figure out what they're doing. Um, but you know, I love the ballads. I love dynamics. I love reaching a crowd, I don't know, making them feel something they weren't ready for. You know, even you know if they're gonna hear a ballad, oh, this is gonna be a real deep ballad. Like it might be deeper than you think. We're gonna go a little further. This song might, you're gonna probably 10-minute outro, you know, or whatever. But But as long as it tells a good story and it's never too long, it always the momentum always has to go forward. If
Yeah.
any students, I always say that it has to have like I just have to believe the melodies and the flow of what you're doing, even if you're improvising. There has to be some kind of, or even if it's quote unquote free, there still has to be some kind of melodic shape or dynamics that intrigues the listener. And everyone has their own take on it. So I'm not saying mine's end all be all. I
Well,
think
I think I also think it's a question of focus for the artist, if you're committed to, I say the word focus, but yesterday I was talking with Christian Moraga and we were talking about that and I forget exactly what we said, but it was there were some other concepts that we were talking about that I said basically that equals focus to me. But
Mhm.
so if you focus is just a concept, but as applied with what you're saying, there's this focus of flow and direction. And so, and you got to have it because there really is almost nothing else. Even
Mhm.
if you played one note or one note in a bar, if
Mhm.
you're focused, like Carmen McRae,
Mhm.
I really grew to love Carmen McRae in my older years because she, out of anybody, she can sing a sentence and stop where you're not supposed to stop, and as the listener, you're waiting because she's so focused that you're with her in
Mhm.
her in her image, you know. So, you know, I think
Yeah.
focus. And talking about Charlie Hayden,
Mhm.
there was a Schofield record that he was on that was a groove. I think it might have been Groovin' or whatever it is, and so Sco takes like this burning wonderful Sco
Mhm.
guitar
So,
solo,
yeah.
and then what does Charlie do? He plays whole notes
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it
for
sounds.
his solo. Yeah, it's great.
I mean, I've listened. Yeah, that's how. It just seems appropriate. Play what's appropriate. I think I said this at some point, like the wisdom's in the listening sometimes, like where even as a player, that's where it all is. It's just waiting and listening, and then something will come out. And then I think playing to your ability is a good thing too. Like
Yeah.
when I was younger, I might try things to show off or something, and I realized how it's just like no one. I remember when I was like 25, I think who said it? Oh, it was someone in the scene. He's like 40, and he's telling me, "Yeah, your career doesn't even start till you're 40." And I didn't even understand, but I'm 43 now, and I'm like, "Oh yeah, I know what he meant." It's like the whole way you listen and the way you appreciate certain things maybe you didn't appreciate before. At least for me, changed. And especially during the pandemic. We got this piano right here.
Ah,
During the pandemic, it was like the week everything shut down. So I sat on this thing for like a year. It was just for
wow.
hours and then just practicing everything. And I was just discovering. So I was like back in college because I was gigging all up until then. And it's great to gig and I still love it. But I'm like, if you do so many, you get bombarded in the gigging and I'm working for so many people. I forget what I wanted to do a little. So it was nice. I mean, that wasn't a nice part of life by any means, but maybe to get my head right about what I wanted to work on. I probably wouldn't be doing a trio thing right now if it wasn't for that. Like because I'd be just taking
Working. Yeah.
working, which is I need to do. So I'm trying to balance both
Yeah.
currently. Which is tough, but I think people want me to do this. At least it's my wife's. So that's
Well,
good.
the pandemic definitely changed people's minds, not only about music, but life. You know, priorities changed. It was
Yeah.
kind of like a slap in the face, like, oh,
Yeah.
what have I been doing all this time, And now with the just kind of insanity and
Yeah.
kind of the cloud that hangs over us of what the hell is happening on planet Earth.
Yeah. Exactly.
So what's you know what is valuable, and what's valuable is what you described. It's what makes you alive.
Hmm.
It's truth, the truth of what makes you alive. So,
Hmm.
um, and being artists, I mean, I think we have to do it, because that's what we do, and that's our gift that we can give to people. So,
Yeah,
without getting too like whip, like, you must be responsible, without getting that way. I just think that's what my job is,
yeah,
to provide that somehow.
absolutely. I agree completely. A lot of people I think appreciate it. They like seeing you do your thing, and it really moves them, and it really helps them through life. So, yeah, especially now. I mean, um, yeah, I don't know. I could talk about that too, but I don't
I know.
know. That's a different. But
Well, yeah, but I mean, it needs mentioning in the
yeah, it is a part of this.
a little bit. Taylor has a lot of questions here, and oh, hi,
Oh,
Kim.
well,
Kim McGuire came.
okay.
She said, "Yeah, that focus and staying within yourself at the same time. You're in deep with the band, not outside in a performative sort of way." That's right.
Yeah.
Um, and Taylor has a bunch of questions, but let's see. Let
Hmm.
me look. He was talking about, he thinks that Brad Meldau and VJ Iyer tend to dissect harmonic choices when they play standards as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
Brad is interesting. You know, I went to see him this year, and it was like,
you're talking about Brad?
yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I,
Uh-huh.
I,
Go
I
ahead.
well, I've heard him with other people in other
That
people's
was
bands.
Marcus and was it Christian
It
before?
was Christian.
Uh,
It was only him and Christian.
oh, duo. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
I don't know his
when
where
I
I thought his writing was actually showed,
yeah,
like earlier, what we were talking about, kind of folky, and
mhm,
he's really he has a voice in that.
absolutely. No, he's a genius, and I don't throw around that word. I was completely influenced him in college. A lot of my friends were listening to him because he was. See, this was I was in New York 2003, so I was like younger, but people were just blown away by him. I went to North Texas too. People were listening to his Art of the Trio records,
Right, right.
and I remember the first time I heard it, and I was just blown away. I was like, intro to Countdown, I think I heard, and then he did All the Things You Are, and all this like reverb stuff. And this is before I got into Keith, so I didn't really.
Oh,
So I was like, wow, and I was like, oh my God, completely obsessed with him. Got all his records, and then I think I saw him when I was in New York. I saw him in the Vanguard with the trio with Jorge Rossi, and then he
okay.
Grenadier, and, and I saw him with the Largo. His first record at Largo, it's called Largo, I think. Anyway, it was at Largo here in L.A., and I went and saw that. I think it was like two basses. I think Dargos played bass, and Larry Grenadier played bass, two basses. Matt Chamberlain and Jorge Rossi played two drummers.
Oh,
Brad played vibes
oh,
and piano. Anyway, you know, I know what you mean. I listen. I've had this talk with a lot of people about maybe comparing pianists or comparing musicians. I mean, maybe that's kind of a common thing between musicians. Like who do you like? Why do you like them? What do you do?
yeah.
Why? What records do you like? Have you heard this? Which is fun. Um, yeah, I mean, I actually recently saw Brad Meldo at Largo here, doing the music of Elliott Smith. I think it was Matt Chamberlain played drums, and anyway, it was a good show, and a lot of my friends were there, like pianists and musicians, and we all thought it was tremendous. And he did about three or four solo up front. I think if he's in his element, he really could reach me in a level like Keith, where he's lyrical. It does, he's coming from a different place, though. And when I hear Keith Jarrett, I think he's like playing, and I think he said this, nothing to nothing, and especially in his solo piano recordings and concerts he did.
I love that. Oh my God. I have to
Instead of
write that down.
instead of
That's so cool. Nothing to
instead of,
nothing.
instead of maybe like I think this is also Keith said that some people might think improvisation is one connected thing to another connected thing, where there's like a
Yeah.
melody and you're playing here, and then you come back in with a melody, or there's a written thing, and then you play. This is your part to solo, and then you come back with another written thing, and then the song's over. It's one thing to maybe like have an empty. I mean, obviously he's not doing that. He's thinking about what he's playing. You got to be there doing something.
Yeah.
Like it might be just something, but I understand what he's saying, and I think Charlie Hayden said something like that too, where you're playing music like you never played it before. Although, and you're kind of being ignorant of what comes next. You're like a kid or something.
Yeah.
Very that open space. I don't know if Brad is coming from that like openness,
Right.
like you said earlier. It's hard to put yourself in that space where you really don't. You're really what's the word? Like vulnerable, like out there. People
Yeah.
don't know how hard and kind of crazy that is to be vulnerable. And I want to get to that place a little. I might be a little crazy, but like that's what I like about it. If anybody like my playing, that's I'm kind of like that's what it has to get to, some kind of musical space where like the energy is everyone can feel the energy of it, even if you don't understand it or you don't have to. There's like some energy thing you're grabbing onto with the moment because you see people up there doing it in real time. But that being said, Brad Meadows is a genius, and
He is.
I still go
Yeah.
to his records, especially his older records. I've listened to thousands of times. I don't know, hundreds, but and uh, and I did love that trio with Jorge and Larry back in the day. I thought Jorge and Brad
Yeah.
spoke so well together, and Larry is just playing the right stuff, and he's just amazing, like what he's doing back then. Now,
He's so good. Yeah.
I don't,
Hey,
yeah,
I wanted to tell you, I wanted to see what your comments on this was. I was in Japan when Keith was kind of on his last tour kind of
hmm
stuff
hmm
with Jack and
Gary,
Gary. Yeah. So totally blew my mind.
mm,
His solos all night were motivic, and
mm,
they were so he would play a motif three
hmm
times, take from that and make a new motif, take from that and make
hmm
the whole
wow,
solos
mm,
all night long. I was, I mean, the just the effect of it and the artistry and how long it took him to be artistic at that, just kind of sat with me and blew my mind. It
yeah.
was incredible.
I mean, it's not an understatement to put him up there with the greatest minds in history because I've listened to enough of his stuff, and the depth of his work goes from, I don't know, you name it, different styles. It's not all
Yeah,
one, from solo to solo, from era to era, he's playing differently. It's like night to
yeah,
night. And then that's what intrigues me about the openness. Like it all doesn't have to be one thing. It could be anything you want it, as long as it's maybe the band believes in you and the audience believes in you, and they want you to do it. And so, yeah, I mean, I've heard him play things, improvise like pretty much sounds like classical Bach concertos. He's just all making it up on the spot, but it's all there because he's practiced that stuff, and his classical playing's great too.
yeah.
And but
Hey, could
yeah,
could we hear? You did a bunch of solo videos, right?
yeah. I mean, during the pandemic, yeah, I'm glad you noticed. Not many people watched it, but I kind of got obsessed, and I put a bunch of. I don't know if that's what you're talking about, but like
Yeah.
a video. I think there's a couple videos I put. A lot of it I just put up track after track of standards. So there's like probably 4 or 5 hours of solo piano stuff I put on YouTube
I'd
that you can.
like to go. I mean,
I mean,
should I?
a lot of it's just it's a long time to listen to. But yeah, yeah, there's
Well, I mean, I won't go. I won't let it go so long. I'll
yeah,
go
yeah.
like I don't know, whatever, 5, 6 minutes, something like that. But so, but
Autumn,
I don't know if you have any particular thing, but like I'm looking at. Let's see. One was well.
autumn.
Should I go to your YouTube?
Yeah, maybe. Let's see. Autumn Nocturne. There might have been one. Let's see.
Let's see. Autumn Nocturne. I'll write that. Autumn, which is
Or write in.
incredible.
I got it bad, and you ain't. You know. Good.
Okay, but Autumn Nocturne is pretty amazing.
I think that's just a recording. I mean, that might be on one of.
Oh, okay. So
Uh,
here,
you want a
let me show
video?
you what
I'm
I'm
not even
looking
sure
at.
what's up there.
I'll show you what I'm looking at.
Yeah.
So first, I was just going to go to.
Oh, look at that. Yeah, I
Um,
haven't been on my page in a while. Yeah.
well,
That
let's
one's
see.
old.
That's not really your page yet. So hold
Oh,
on.
okay. I don't Google
Here
myself
we
too
go.
often.
Well, here's
Oh,
you
yeah.
know, solo piano standards number
Yeah,
8.
yeah, a lot of these are just audio. Let's see. If you want a video,
Well, that's okay. I don't care. Whatever. I mean, who can I turn to? There's a
yeah,
solo.
yeah. I mean, any of those. I'm pretty. I mean, I don't. I put so many of them up. Yeah, yeah. Let's try this one. Man, got a little deep. Yeah. I love that song.
Yeah, that's a beautiful song.
I love that tune. It's I recorded so many. Yeah. Um, I love solo piano. I love shapes and dynamics and a fair, or a flair for the dramatic. I've always liked that in everything. So it's kind of like how I would play tunes. They're not all like that. That's a little more the kind of the pedal point. But most of the things, some are just straight down the middle and do a bunch of Ellington and Monk, and I mean it's all online. You can listen to it. Um,
Do you think of the words when you're playing something like
yeah,
this?
absolutely. I love working with vocalists, and I don't know every lyric of every tune, but I try to, when I'm learning them
Yeah,
and like when I record them, if when like I try to, those are the ones I'm focusing on. Obviously, just like anything.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, obviously, I was taught, and I think Gary taught me this. It's like if you're playing like a tune, like he's like that's not the you have to play it like the lyrics because you wouldn't sing it like that. And so pianistically, it really affected me how he told me that, and that was years ago. So ever since then, I've been really, and also the point of the song, like where it came from. I try to study that as much as I can. And then eventually, if people know that I know the melody, I want to maybe get away from it a little. But yeah. So to answer your question, yes, yeah. I mean, I know, I know most when I'm working on it. I couldn't probably recite them now, though. Like, But if I'm
Yeah,
working on something and I put it out there, even if it's like, I know no one's gonna hear it, essentially,
yeah,
I
yeah,
still want it to be like what I think is correct, or good enough. And I'm not saying everything I put up there is perfect, but that's who I am, and I put it out there, and anybody could listen to it. And I used to do a lot of solo piano, like I did a couple at the Blue Whale, like opening for bands, just playing
oh,
myself for like an hour, or like or
yeah,
like I'll do the first set, and then the band, like who would it be? Like this guy Jens, I did it for, and
yeah,
he was real nice. And I kind of play to the, it would get into more kind of like 70s Keith, where it's like kind of drony, like shapes and things like that. But then I'll usually end with like, Somewhere Over the Rainbow or something, or like, or Miss Otis Regrets, or some kind of Cole Porter, or Tennessee Waltz. I really love that tune, and or some, Gene Autry or something. I don't know. Like I try to look for interesting songs that maybe someone will come up to me and be like, "Yeah, I remember that song." I mean, those days are getting a little. They're not around as much. The younger generation isn't really recognizing.
all right. When you play with singers, do you do you like or prefer anything particular from, I'm talking about jazz singers, but do you prefer them to stick to the melody?
Yeah, it's interesting you mentioned that. It depends on who.
Yeah,
Obviously, I think all of it is who you're working with. Um, I think I prefer openness. I've worked with a lot of different singers. My wife's a singer, and let's see, I worked with Kathleen Grace. I love Kathleen. We
yeah,
had a nice little. We spent. I was in her group for a while, and we've always had a nice rapport, like thinking kind of the same language. So, and she's kind of coming from let's just start and play because we kind of trust each other,
yeah,
and I like that openness. Work with Sarah Gazark, and she was like, kind of, this is the chart, that's what she wants, and we stick to that. And she's great too, solid, not as it's kind of this is what you're gonna get.
yeah,
And
yeah,
so, and that's kind of like a little out of my element. So it's nice. I subbed a lot, for like Josh Nelson and things like that, and I love those guys. So it was trying to get in their heads and trying to play their music, and you know, I'm kind of maybe more of like, let's go wherever it goes and let's get as much out of it as we can. Like, get off the chart. But if the chart's beautiful, I'm going to stick to the chart. And that's a challenging, I'm a decent reader. I'm not the greatest, but um, I really need to shed things, as far as like reading. So, and when I write, I'm very meticulous and I have to make sure I can play it. So, but, I can play it. And when I'm improvising, I feel like I can play anything, because I'm not thinking. That's a whole different side of the brain. But, so to answer your question, yeah, I guess that the openness, but I have to really believe that you know the song. They have to know the song before you can do any of that. I was teaching someone piano in my house the other day, and he wanted to right off the bat mess with it, and I just play. I'm all like, just play it right once, just
Yeah.
play the melody, like because you got to start somewhere. So, um, or practice things. Don't that's too tough of a song for you to do. Like practice something you can play that you can. If you want to mess with it, you got to practice easier music.
Yeah.
You got to
Yeah.
be able to. If that's where your head is, because I know a lot of folks, they're very successful. They don't know how to read. They're just singing what they want to sing, but they do so well of playing exactly where they could play. If you can't do something, that's a real humbling thing. But not saying you can keep practicing that, but you kind of see where you're at, in life. It's the truth. But I worked with Jane Monheit, and she's like kind of like that's the arrangement. She's great. I mean, but I think Kathleen, the singer, I was like probably played with the most, and I probably bunch more, maybe 30, 40. I mean, I get called to sing this week. I got called to play with singers, um, and
Imagine that.
somewhere, yeah, accompanist, yeah. I think I know a lot of tunes, so I think it keeps me in the book. And I
Right.
get people like, as long as you provide a good vibe,
Yeah.
I always want the vibe to be good, even if it's not the greatest situation. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. My friend Mary Bogue is here. Do you know Mary?
do I know Barry? Oh,
She's a great singer, kind of jazzy, bluesy, wonderful performer.
mhm.
She'd love to hear you play Stardust.
Right now?
Well, I don't think I can hear your piano
Oh,
that well.
see, see.
Yeah, I can't hear it. It's one of those technical things that I haven't figured out.
Yeah,
Nope.
I have headphones are on or anything. Yeah. It's on. I think I recorded it somewhere on my.
Oh,
Oh, I did this record, this solo piano record, The Times. Um,
okay.
it's called The Times because I played Times Are Changed by Bob Dylan. But most of the record is standards, and I did as a solo piano record. I did probably, I don't know, 10 years ago or 9 years ago. And it's online. It's on YouTube. You can just type in Matt Politano The Times, and I do record Stardust on that record, solo piano, so you can hear it
Okay.
there. Yeah, I've recorded most every standard I can think of. I kind of got really obsessed with learning. Not to say I remember them all, but I recorded them all. So at some point I knew them. I mostly did them by memory. If I had to read something, I read something.
Yeah.
Uh, um, but yeah, and I might have recorded it again. So, but yeah, you can if you're really interested in hearing it. Yeah, I haven't heard that record in a while. I was a different player and person back then. But yeah, yeah, it's at the times. So I do. What else do I do on that? I do. How About You? And I do Moon River. But they're all kind of like, I don't know, dare I say, open. It's not like Oscar Peterson or something. It's kind of like more free.
Yeah.
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 But
Do
I
you,
do. Yeah.
I was just, Taylor said if you have your settings on Zoom to original sound for musicians, but I don't know, Taylor, I don't know if that really
I don't know what to
necessarily
do.
works. Do you know how to do that? Are you on a phone?
I'm on my iPad.
Yeah, I'm not sure you can do it on the iPad. It's
Yeah,
under audio, you
audio.
know.
I'm very not technological. Let's see.
Well, there might be an audio, like a little microphone, and that says audio, and there, a little caret next to it, and then it says audio settings. But you may not. It may not be that.
Does that do it?
Yes. Thank you, Taylor.
Let's see. You know, I played this once, and who was it? Maybe someone, Tony Dumas or something. He's like, he just likes the verse. He didn't even like the song. Something like that. That was the living room
Sounded
version.
great.
Yeah.
Sounded great. Mary said that Hoagie, this is kind of opposite of what it normally was, but Hoagie wrote it as a fast song.
After the original,
And
yeah.
yeah, the great Marshall Royale had him slow it down.
It's like as far as I remember, it's kind of like he's like speaking it. It's like Stardust. I mean, he's not even singing it. It's kind of like it. Yeah, I remember every time I play it, I think about the way he did it. It was just a kind of a moving song. Yeah,
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
like one of the great, might be the greatest song ever written. I mean, it could be.
I know. I
I mean,
know.
I
It's
can't
really
think of a better song than that. I could say that about a lot, but that I think that might be up there.
it was Mary's wedding song. Let's see. Taylor said some cool. Um, well, he said one thing. He has some great stuff. Um, he's asked. I have stories about the things that were mixed about my experiences in North Texas, but I'm curious in your experience, did you feel like you gained the kind of experience you wanted from there before you switched to Manhattan School?
Yeah, I had a good experience. I probably know where that's coming from. I have a lot of friends, and I was only in North Texas for 1 year, um,
Oh,
and I played trumpet there, and I was 18. So I wasn't there too long, and I was pretty much a shy kid who didn't go out, and it did change eventually, but back then I was kind of green, and I didn't spend enough time there maybe to maybe experience those things. And when I got there, I made the top band. I was in the 1 o'clock lab band on trumpet, solo trumpet, and I was freaking out. So I was practicing all the time. I mean, the guy next to me was 31, and I'm 18. So I'm like, um, so I felt like, oh, what am I doing here? But I can always solo, so that's why I was there. And
yeah,
and
yeah.
I mean, they had like 9 bands and other bands, and I learned a lot because I was pretty much an ear player. Oh, is everything cool? Did that fall there?
Yeah, it fell, but I hardly play it, so it's not.
Okay.
I don't think it's so bad. Keep going.
Oh,
I'm
it's
just
all right.
pulling my
Yeah, you got a fallen flute. Is that a flute?
a
Yeah,
fallen flute. It's
that's
a
what
good name, good
you should.
title for a song.
Yeah, you should write that. Fallen flute, fallen grace, fallen flute. um, yeah, I mean, I mean, my ups and downs. My teacher was Mike Steinell. He was the trumpet teacher, and then Neil Slater was the director of the 1 o'clock lab band. It's interesting people, but they got me to practice what I needed to practice. I needed more like bebop in my life. I needed more structure because I was such an ear player. And to this day, I still am kind of.
Yeah.
But they got me into things that I didn't even, know, and plus the students. That's where I learned most of my stuff from other students about music. First time I heard, I think Keith was in North Texas. Someone showed me a record. It was like one of his trio, live standards trio, and I remember I didn't like it. I'm like, what's going on? Why is this guy yelling? And I'm like, this is weird. So, but I remember who showed me that. Yeah, this guy Jake. Anyway, I had a good experience. Yeah, I always wanted to go to New York though. So when I had that opportunity, I felt like that's where I wanted to go, and like then I learned a bunch of stuff there too from the teachers and the students. But I guess mostly the students. Um, so I had a pretty good. I'm not gonna say anything bad, about my experience there. I was only there a short time though. I
Yeah.
wasn't I wasn't there long enough, maybe to get dark. um, I was there 2000.
Taylor knew Mike. He said he was really,
Yeah,
really nice.
I lost touch with him.
Always sweet.
He became like a guitarist or folk guitarist or something like that.
Here's a good Taylor question.
Yeah,
You ready?
yeah. Go ahead.
In context, as you learn more things about your own playing, what internal compass do you trust most when deciding whether a creative choice is honest or convenient?
Hmm. Um, I know what he means about finding yourself, because music and improvisation is such a personal thing. You know, when I'm playing, in a solo piano or trio, when I can do whatever I think is right, then I don't really have any conflict. Because I'm doing what I think is true, and I think that's ultimately what everyone wants in life. No matter what you do, you just got to do what you think is right. And when
Also,
I'm
it
working,
feels better, right?
yeah, when I'm working for other people
Yeah,
and they want it specifically a way, or I'm reading a chart, or I have to kind of do it their way.
yeah,
Uh, my decisions musically, I'm not going to take 20 choruses, you know,
yeah.
because I'm a part of a band or I'm part of a show, and this is what I'm getting paid to do. Um, but through doing a lot of those, I realize who I am a little, like, I kind of want to do this. It's not all about. Everyone doesn't want the same thing. Even in LA, I grew up here, so it's like you can still find some artistic. She's probably asking that because maybe he goes. Everyone goes through it a little, like probably everyone's asked this question to themselves at
Oh,
some
yeah.
point. The ultimate.
It's definitely the ultimate.
And every day, I wake up. As far as the moment, I'm really adventurous. I used to kind of stop myself from maybe, but recently I've been like, I think people wanted me to do it. So, and I want it's for me too. So it's like you put it out in the world and see what sticks, I guess.
Yeah, yeah.
And then record it, and then I don't. It's not even about the numbers for me right now. But I mean, I love Friday to be packed, but but jazz has always been kind of going along under. Anyway, I hope that answers the question. I don't even know if that.
Yeah, I'm just writing again. This Friday,
Yeah, yeah. That's right.
Matt's Matt's trio is at our club. Um, what is our club? Birds? No. Yes, Birds of a Feather.
Jazz
I,
lounge. Um,
yeah,
I told. What should people? Yeah, people park. Where do they park? Some people were asking about that.
right underneath the building.
Billion. Okay, perfect.
If people go to the site and look at the site, the very first thing that comes up on the site is parking. There's a
Perfect.
picture, there's description. So I would really suggest that people do that because
Mhm.
people have been known to drive around for an hour
Okay, yeah, people
looking.
want that. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but it's really easy. And it is cash though, $12 cash, which is weird, but that's what it is. And then, yeah, then you just go straight up and it's great. And the room is so nice. You're going to love it, Matt. I
Yeah.
mean, I bet you played there before it was even Olak. Olak is the restaurant it's in. But there was another, the original restaurant, which the original owners built this room in the back that's a lounge, or a club. Uh, that was called something like LA Jazz something or the Jazz or I can't remember. It was a long, long time ago. You might not have been around actually, but
Right.
then Olak,
I remember Olak, yeah.
yeah, they bought it, and then I was booking it as Bar Fedora. I was booking the back room, and then the pandemic happened, and then more recently, the chef asked me if I would stir up something again. So, and then he had renamed it Birds
Well,
of a
great.
Feather.
Well, thank
So,
you.
yeah,
Um, really looking forward to it. Yeah, I appreciate the opportunity and to keep, all the things you do for the community. And it's great.
uh,
Thank
it's
you.
really nice. It's a win-win. So, and it's exciting. It's been really exciting to have these beautiful bands in there. You know who played really beautifully in there was, do you know Marlon Martinez, the bass
Mm,
player?
yeah, I know Marlon. Yeah.
Wow, he had this piano player. Let me see if I can find his name. I bet you know him. Let's see. Let me see. Sometimes I'll give myself little hints. Marlon,
I've actually never met Marlon, but I just know who he is. Yeah.
you would really like him. He's a wonderful player
Yeah.
and well, you know, pianist. Let's see. I make these little notes, but then when iPhone updates it, it's
Yeah, I don't like the new iPhone update.
I
It
don't
messed
either.
me up. I just download. I'm like, oh, everything's different.
It worked before.
Yeah, well, I guess
Why mess around with it, man?
she
Yeah,
might
because
be.
what I do is sometimes is I'll put the bass player's name, and then
Mhm.
under like company I'll put Marlon,
Oh,
or I'll put somebody else, to kind of cross reference it. And yeah. Anyway, the pianist was so good.
mhm.
Let me see if I can find it another way. I don't know. Hold on one second. Let me
Yeah, no
let
worries.
me just take a quick gander. But see, it's not. There's no way I can really.
There's a lot of great young musicians, or old. I mean, there's a lot of great musicians in general that, um, they're just playing so great.
I know. Well,
Doesn't
anyway,
stop. There's always new people, and LA's good for that.
it is good for that.
Just like people come through or stay here for a little bit, or New York, but like it's nice to have that quality and like the willingness and the opportunity to play out here.
I know. There's so much, really a lot of great players. Well, anyway, there's no way I'm going to find it because I have piano players,
A lot of them.
galore
There's a lot of them.
in my book. Um, yeah, but anyway, and Josh actually had a beautiful night. Josh and
Yeah, Josh is great.
Dan Lutz and Chris
Chris,
Wabbage.
yeah.
Oh, that was
Chris is
so
kind of the
good.
reason I contacted you because he came down to my morning thing. And he
Oh,
mentioned maybe, so he's like, maybe you can contact Cathy. That's why, yeah, I was okay, sure. Um, but yeah, Josh is great. Josh has been one of my idols for a long time. He's a great musician. He's a great writer, great person. I don't spend a lot of time with Josh, but I feel like we were in the similar bands. We kind of brought up. He's a little older than me, but we were brought up, and I sub for him a lot. So, and he's very gracious with that. I kind of do some teaching at USC when he's out of town and things like that. So, um, but you know,
he's a good person.
he's
He
a
really
good person,
is.
yeah, and I really dig his records. I
Yeah,
even like, sometimes get his tunes and I shed them myself because I just like the way they sound.
beautiful songs. Yeah, there's that one that he and Kathleen wrote that just kills me. How You Loved Me on Mars.
Yeah.
Oh my God. That's one of those songs. It's not that super difficult, but it's
Yeah, that's
beautiful. Beautiful.
that's this is there's something about these songs. You can't difficult has nothing to do with it. It's just like, why is that? Man, I'm just thinking about that all day. Um,
There's some Sting songs that I especially love, like that. Space, what is it? Hearts. That's not the that's not the shape of my heart.
oh yeah, yeah.
That song absolutely kills me. It was the theme song for that movie where the hitman was the Italian hitman and Natalie whatever
Natalie
Portman.
Portman?
She was like 10 or 11 or something.
Uh-huh.
I forget what the name of that movie. It was a really good movie, and that song was the theme song, and I was like, I'm gonna die and go to heaven, man. And I've tried to sing that song, and the rain, the way the range is, it's funny. You wouldn't think it would be so hard to sing, but there's something about my range or the way I sing. I'm really trying to work on it to see what I can do with it, but my ears and my head always go back to the original because it's so alluring. I don't really want to fuck around with it. So, but
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
sometimes I hit songs like that are. I love Sting. I love Sting. Peter Gabriel.
Yeah,
I've recorded several of those kind of songs, and yeah, I mean, God, that's definitely where part of my heart is.
yeah. It, c- it comes out in everyone's playing like what they really love, I think.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it's funny. I even I try to learn songs that I don't particularly love to see if I can someone will tell me a song to check out, and maybe deep down it's like I don't know why I can't. I'm not digging it, but I'll just keep playing it over and over again or practicing it or something to see if I can find what everyone's talking about. Sometimes it doesn't work. Sometimes I'm still like, well, that's just not the song for me. I just can't. But I don't want to put it down because someone wrote it and it took a heart. It's like um let's see, what tune was like that recently for me? I don't know. I don't want to, but um, from all these solo gigs I've done, in the corner when no one's listening for 4 hours, I have the opportunity to play every song ever played, because no one's particularly listening. So it's just a good opportunity to find out, some deep cuts, but yeah, I got to check out, and as soon as I know, I think I know a lot. I don't know any because someone will show me a whole song and then a whole new artist. That's kind of the beauty and the worst thing about technology is that I was talking with someone, but maybe like the people who wrote all these tunes, especially back in the 40s or 50s, they didn't have the opportunity to listen to everyone all at once. So they were kind of practicing one thing or listening to one thing or whatever's in front of them or the record they had on Spotify or whatever. These people, you can listen to everything. Like it's hard to stay on track. With like one vibe or one artist for a little bit, unless you're coming from a certain generation or you have to just sit with it for a minute. Um, but anyway, yeah, I like that stuff too. Um, my dad liked all the '60s rock stuff, so I Beatles and um, you love the Ventures, like early '60s kind of rock. He's so anything he liked, I liked. So all the Simon Garfunkel and
Right, right.
my mom liked all that stuff. Peter Paul, Mary. Um,
Peter, Paul, and Mary. I sang it.
yeah, yeah.
I had two sisters who were, I had twin sisters who were 4 years older than me, and they sang, and one played piano. So we grew up, I mean, mostly we grew up doing standards, Jobim stuff, but we also did that kind of the folk music too. And then as I grew up, not surrounded by them, then I had influences with the musicians who I was growing up with. So we did rock you know, and it was just, yeah, that was a really rich time that you're speaking of.
Yeah, I think and even the jazz that came out then, it was all kind of influenced. Even really speaks the moment. I don't know. I really hope that I don't know if it's going to stay that way with like people have other outlets to get to. Not it's not the songs they go to anymore. I don't know. It's like there's so much out there. But I can't think about that. You just want to do something in the moment, and whoever's there will check it out, right?
Right.
So, so I'll probably check out some Peter Gabriel later and Sting. See, this is how I practice. This is how I get ideas. Like talking to. Like, oh, now
Yeah.
I'm gonna check out that tune. Watch that movie. The Hitman, Natalie Portman.
Oh, that's it, The Hitman.
No, I don't know. Is it? Is that the name
I
of it?
think it might be called The Hitman.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Let
we
me
don't have
take
to.
a quick look.
No
Yeah, I think it
deviation.
might be called The Hitman.
I think that's the last thing I thought we'd be talking about today. But
The Hitman?
yeah,
The Hitman. I forget his name. No, it was not called that. Let me see. The Hitman movie with Natalie Portman. Oh yeah, it was called The Professional.
I'm a professional, of course.
So it was Jean Reno,
Okay.
who's French actually, not Italian, and Gary Oldman was in it. Oh, and it was actually it was the film debut of Natalie Portman. That you got to see that, man. It was a great movie, and like I said, the music was just, you know, really. It went along so well. I have a friend who writes for movies, Catherine Bostick,
Mm.
and she has songs like that. I produced a record on her that's not quite out yet, but it's to me it's like Americana cinematography. It's like it's because she writes for movies a lot, but she has and she played jazz and sang jazz, and then she moved into her own material, which is I don't know Americana kind of, but different.
Mm.
And yeah, she has these songs that I've heard in as theme music for some movies, and it's wow, it's just really grabs you and holds you, you know. It's really
Hmm.
beautiful.
Yeah, let's go check it out. I love I love that stuff. Yeah, I should do more writing. I haven't. One day, I'm trying to do a record here in March from this group we've been playing so long, like, and I got to do a record. So we're gonna try to do something in March, and then you shop that around or do something with it, and then I'm gonna write some tunes for that. So I'm trying to get back into writing. I feel like I'm writing all the time with my like improv and stuff, but I we do a handful of my tunes, and I used to write a little more, but I just got so obsessed with the standards, and sometimes I could be like, oh, so many great songs. It's just like like that could be
I
my
feel
life.
I feel the same way. It's like,
I'm like, what am
why
I gonna write?
write? There's so many great songs to pick from.
Yeah, I can write something that sounds like it, but I'd rather play that song. But I have some ideas. A lot of my songs are kind of like shapes or like sketches, and then you just make something out of them. They connect sections that are completely different, like metrically or some. It's not like mathematics, but it's like there's an element of that to
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
Because I'll just write down a couple things, then I'll just make up the melody as I play it. But
yeah, yeah.
anyway,
So, maybe another question or two
yeah,
for
sure.
just to prepare people for Friday.
Yeah,
What do you
prepared.
what do you what are you looking forward to on Friday for the music?
Yeah, well, like I said, we're doing a couple of my tunes, and I really been shedding all these old, well, standards and ballads, but these Keith Jarrett tunes from like kind of the '70s American quartet, European quartet, um, it really speaks to me, and we're gonna play a lot of that stuff because we've been playing it in the morning, um, and like Prism or this tune. The wind up is from Belonging or this American quartet, Southern Smiles. Or there's probably 10 or 11 key tunes. This tune Rainbow, which is really beautiful, he wrote. There's a good trio recording of 1972 Hamburg, Paul Motion and Charlie Hayden and Keith when they're really young. So we'll do a couple of that. I always break out a couple folk songs. Um, and I think it's gonna be a great time. I really love playing. I love playing with this band, and it's kind of the most honest thing I've probably done in my whole life as far as musically. Where it's like, oh, this is what I want to do. So, um, but then we'll swing something. I love swing. I love we play this tune Escapade, Kenny Dorham, some Joe Henderson. Some Bud Powell. I mean, if you asked me about 3 years ago and I was going to do this gig, I would say like we would just do all Bud Powell tunes because that's all we were playing. We were playing Celia and Bouncing with Bud and all these tunes and or Glass Enclosure, this kind of through composed piece he wrote. Um, but I would like need to shed things. But currently I'm into the key stuff. Um, so it's like I don't know. You just have to come see it. I'm very one gig after the other is different. People come see me every week, and I think they keep coming because it's like I'm trying to make it different each time. So it's like I don't want people to get bored with it. I
Yeah.
don't want to get bored with it. But it takes a lot, to try to make it differently. But hopefully people like it, and just happy to play there, and I always love anything for the jazz community. Appreciate you making it happen.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm gonna probably sign off now. And thanks for being on. I'm glad we had this chance to talk, and it was fun. And I'm really looking forward to Friday night, this Friday night at Birds of a Feather Jazz Lounge in downtown LA.
Thanks. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Thank you so much, man.
Yeah.
Bye. Bye,
Bye.
everybody.
Bye.